Today we're going to grab a cheeseburger with one of the nicest guys in the real estate business, Dave Pruitt from our Arrowhead office. But don't let the niceness fool you. He runs his business like a Fortune 500 company. He takes no prisoners when it comes down to doing real estate. Let's go grab a cheeseburger with Dave Pruitt on today's episode of Cheeseburgers with Mike Weinstein.
This is Dave.
Hey Dave, Mike here. What are you doing?
Hey, just hanging out, trying to get some work done.
Hey, what do you think about you and I going and grabbing a cheeseburger real quick?
You buying?
Your broker's buying, but of course.
All right, man. Sounds great.
All right, Dave. Thanks for joining us today. Let's go grab a burger.
Sounds good.
Man, what are you up to today? Evicting tenants, I hear?
Yeah, just throwing a couple people out on their butts today. So it's always a great way to start your morning.
Yeah. Well, hey, I once we had a fourplex down in downtown Phoenix off Polk Street, so you know where this story's going, right? So I went to show up to collect rent one day, and the graffiti on the front door, and the graffiti was done by the tenant, just said, "No money, no honey."
That's good.
I'm like, so rent will be in cash.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, today's tenant story was just they locked in 5 cats in the house for the last week. So we had a nice aroma that was brewing in there.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the burger is going to smell good.
Yeah, the burger's going to smell good. So yeah, let's take care of that right away. So this, okay, it's called Cheeseburgers with Mike. Okay. So it's pretty apparent what this is all about, and so I sent you an email saying, hey, give me your top 3 places. You said Chipotle, okay, Raising Cane's, and then Five Guys doesn't even have a drive-through.
Yeah, I know. I blew it.
Tell us about your team. You have a team. You have the Pruitt Team, and a lot of your business right now is property management. Tell us a little bit about your team.
Okay, yeah. So we started off with about 8 agents. Now a lot of that support staff that funds that property management or runs that property management side. And so we realized over the last couple of years that we were missing a big opportunity, which was using those tenants or working those tenants to help them buy homes. And so we started building a sales team one at a time, and we're up to 13 agents now, which has been exciting. We're excited for that growth, and over the last year, our sales numbers have just steadily grown. So it's kind of about focusing that and refining that, but yeah, it's been exciting.
How did you, when did you get into real estate?
Oh gosh, I mean, I was licensed in 2004, but I was doing it kind of as a side gig with my parents since I was I can remember sorting checks when I was 10. So yeah, I mean, the people...
They didn't let you sort the cash.
No, not the cash, but actually at Metro Center, so this is a good trivia for all the old Metro agents, they used to have a fountain out there. And so when my mom said I didn't have any more money for candy at the vending machine, I'd go out in that fountain and collect quarters so I could get myself a free bag of chips.
See, that's an entrepreneur.
Totally.
And most parents would get upset with their kids. Not me. I'm like, hey, that's a go-getter right there.
Yeah. So they stopped putting coins in that fountain. So I'm assuming I'm the culprit.
Take us through some of the first lessons as an agent that you had to overcome.
Well, coming into the business young, I would say, I thought and being around it for a long time, I felt like I knew everything. And so, taking a step back and really humbling yourself and being able to ask people for help, that's probably the biggest lesson I learned. We have a really great support staff at West USA, and I was lucky for that because there was a lot of lessons that I could have learned the hard way, and I was able to stop, take a back seat, and just call people and say, hey, listen, I need some help here. And it really, not only did it help me become a better agent, but it helped me, really get a better result for my clients.
What's your favorite item at Burger King?
Oh gosh, probably the I don't know, is it still the flame broiler? Is that still one?
I don't know. I'm the standard. Like when I go to McDonald's, I get the Big Mac. When I go to Taco Bell, I get the Burrito Supreme. And then when I come here, I gotta get the Whopper. Okay. So you work with a lot of new agents, Dave. What is the thing that just at the end of the day, and I know at the end of the day you're scratching your head because you don't have a lot of hair left.
Yeah.
but what are the things at the end of the day that just makes you scratch your head of you just wish you could help agents understand?
For me, it'd be the value of education, number one, and then I guess a 1A would be understanding that it's customer service. You know, I'm a big technology guy, and you can have all the technology and tools that you want, but if you don't understand that basic piece of customer service and communication, I just don't see how you're going to be able to get ahead.
One of the things when looking at your background, you actually used to own a gym.
Correct.
And so you understand the principles of not only owning a business, because it's one thing to own a business, but it's also the other thing to run the business.
Yeah.
What lessons did you take from the days of owning the gym and bring over to real estate when you really became full-time running the team and really helped you out?
Probably budgeting and understanding that just because it looks like it's easy, it's not easy. And so you have to really prepare and plan for structure. You know, one thing that we learned at the gym was, you know, if you don't have structure, then you don't have a pillar for growth. And so you kind of go, you know, you may have a big burst in business, but if you're not prepared for it, that could lead to some pitfalls there. And so, you know, that was what we tried to do before we kind of ramped up our sales team on the real estate property management side, was really implement and spend time and thought and money, mostly money, to create a structure that was repeatable and that someone could jump into. And if we got 20 listings, amazing, we were ready for it. If we only had 3, that we could really service those people just the same.
How important of a role has your CRM system played in the success of your business? Because I know in our private conversations, you use the granddaddy, pretty much the granddaddy of all CRM systems, and you know, and obviously there's a huge learning curve, but your business has really adopted it. How has it changed your business?
It's changed, you know, kind of going back to that customer service side. You know, we use Infusionsoft. And the reason why it's helped us is because any leads that we were losing or any conversations that we were failing to have, which everybody thinks they're perfect. You know, you look at your system and you go, oh, this is bulletproof. But, you know, I guarantee you there's somewhere that you're slipping. And so for us, by implementing the CRM, we made sure that no one was getting lost. So if somebody would email us from Zillow or email us from Truly or whatever sort of contact method they were using, you know, we were constantly redoing it and reshaping it to get an automatic response, and then to trigger all of our teams to follow up personally. So that was it. We wanted, you know, the word that I use with our team is phenomenal customer service. And, you know, my wife teases me because, you know, I'll get a call at 8 o'clock, like most successful realtors, and they're handling it. You know, they don't want that call to get missed because that's a missed opportunity. And so how could we implement something that would allow us to do that, but not sacrifice quality of life? And that's sort of how that's helped.
How do you balance the business with your personal life?
It's tough. I mean, you know, it's getting easier. Again, goes back to structure. You know, for a long time, you know, my wife, first of all, I married up. You too.
Yeah. My funny story is that last time I chatted with you, you're saying you're at home and your wife goes, "Oh my gosh," and you go running in there, and your wife's like, "Oh, Mike's wife is beautiful." Yeah. So I'm like, "Thank you." I don't know. Perfect. Compliment and maybe not so much.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of those things is that she's a big work-life balance person. She's employed by someone else. So, you know, when you're working a 9 to 5, you know, you're off at 5 and you're done. When you're in our industry, there is no 9 to 5. And so you have to create that space and create, you know, that balance. And so it is tough. There is no, you know, balancing, you know, 2 boys with sports and school. And, you know, and an amazing wife that also works, is that you have to dedicate that time. And so that's really where a team helps, because I was able to create that division of when we get a lead, instead of me having to follow that lead from start to finish, that lead gets routed off to our active team members at that time who are on call. And so that would be probably the biggest time savings and how I've been able to prioritize. And it's a work in progress.
So your guys' specific business was pretty much started by your parents, and how has your parents as mentors in real estate really helped you and your brother with your business?
You know, they really, for the most part, were everything. You know, being alongside them, watching them work the late hours, watching them just, you know, I would say the word for them is they had no problem grinding. So when the market was really terrible, they were still successful and they were able to find places to pivot. And so that's probably the number one thing for me that I've learned from them is the ability to just grind through a tough situation, but always be looking for the next opportunity. I actually remember sitting in a class with Steve Chater. He was speaking and I was on a panel in one of his classes, and he's probably one of my favorite people to listen to.
Steve Chater's amazing.
And so they walked up and they hand you this list, and the list said basically like, you know, this is the housing numbers, and it was similar to like the Cromford report, but it was on the rental side. And what they were looking at was that there was less renewals every year, or no, I'm sorry, less leases every year. And he said, "Is this problematic for you?" And I said, "It's not problematic for me." And he goes, "Well, why not?" I said, "Because there's no number on here that shows lease renewals." And Steve Chater started laughing from the background. He's got this big booming laugh, and he's like, "You're right, you know." Because that's the predictor, is that how many people are actually renewing their lease. And so, you know, the ability to have both hands on that, the ability to be able to look at a whole landscape of real estate, which is kind of what my parents have always taught me to do, it was instrumental in where we are.
How prepared are you guys to pivot in any type of situation? How much time do you guys spend in strategizing what might happen 2 years from now?
I don't know if I have like a dedicated time, you know, per week, per day, but you know, it's definitely when we have our weekly staff meetings and our weekly team meetings, it's something that we talk about as part of that flow of, hey, here's where we are, here's where we're going, and here's some ways that we can kind of offset or mitigate any potential risks. So I'd say that we're uber conservative, where you have a lot of people that are still going in and buying a ton of real estate and thinking they're going to make these massive flips and are taking razor thin margins. We've just have always felt that was too risky for us.
What do you think is the number one challenge facing real estate agents today?
Oh gosh, probably, you know, a lot of these e-businesses that are coming up, because I think that the thing that most people are dealing with is technology and ease of use. And so if you have the ability to open an app and sell your home and versus having to call and go through steps to market your home, I think that that's going to be a real problem for people.
What separates your customer service from another average agent's customer service? Because you've talked about customer service several times.
So what I feel separates ours is response time, number one. And, you know, so for us, what we always call, you know, good, great, phenomenal. And so phenomenal for us is to have an in-person response to a client in under 5 minutes. We talk about that daily with our agents. We drive it home, and you know, great would be within an hour, and good would be within 8 hours. For us, anything that falls outside of 8 hours is just unacceptable. So that would be the first tier of that, and the second tier is just the willingness to go above and beyond. You know, we try to be unique in problem solving. You know, when we take a listing, we have an interior designer that's on staff. We take her to the listings that we know could be problematic in that sense, and we absorb that cost. So we don't add that cost onto their bill for a consultation with an interior designer.
You're in a room full of brand new agents, 50 brand new agents, newly licensed or been licensed a couple weeks, and you get to give them one piece of advice. And I'm going to only limit you to one piece of advice. What would be that one thing?
Oh my gosh. Build a repeatable structure from day one. And that comes back to that consistency piece. And I think the reason why I'm going to choose that is because I feel like it kind of encompasses everything I've said. If you set the tone from day one that you have great customer service and that you do all these things that we've kind of talked about.
Systems.
Yeah, systems. That's it. And so if you have that, I think more often than not, you're going to be successful, because you can, let's just say I'm not the best listing agent. If I have a good system, I'll get through. And then if I have a good system and I need to expand, I can bring on someone who specializes in that continues to use the same structure. So that would be what I would say is, you know, create those repeatable structures, create those systems.
All right, today we're picking up one of my most favorite agents in the entire world, Dave Pruitt. I want to harass him a little bit. This show, it's called Cheeseburgers with Mike, so you get the clue. It's cheeseburgers. So every guest, we give them the option to pick their favorite place. We're going to drive through and grab a burger. So two of his three options was Raising Cane's, Chipotle, and then Five Guys, which doesn't even have a drive-through. So we're going to give them, we're going to harass them a little bit. But I am